After getting pregnant by accident, I dragged my suitcase to the door, ready to run. The moment I opened it, a stream of text floated before my eyes. Why are you running? If you run, you're dead. Raven Smith has no brain. She's carrying the only bloodline of the Morrison family, and she dares to hide. After the male lead Matthias Morrison's car accident, his fertility was damaged. The child in Raven's belly is the Morrison family's only heir. Once Raven runs, the child will be taken by Juliette White. Juliette will marry into the Morrison family with a ready-made kid and rise to power through her son. I froze mid-step. Half a minute later, I kicked my suitcase back into the walk-in closet. Clutching the pregnancy test, I stormed into the top floor of Morrison Corporation. Matthias Morrison was in a meeting. I pushed open the conference room doors and slammed the report in front of him. Matthias Morrison, I'm pregnant. It's yours. The conference room fell, so silent you could hear a pin drop. Dozens of eyes turned to stare at me. Matthias sat at the head of the table, his black shirt buttoned all the way to the top, his eyes cold and indifferent. 3 years ago, a car accident nearly took his life. After he survived, the Morrison family's private hospital issued a diagnosis. Matthias Morrison would have extreme difficulty having children. The Morrison family had been passing down a single heir for 13 generations. The old matriarch of the family, Lillian Morrison, was so anxious she consulted every renowned doctor. She even secretly arranged blind dates for him, but he coldly sent them all away. So when I threw out this pregnancy test, the faces of the executives in the room were even more spectacular than mine had been when I first saw those floating words. Matthias picked up the report and looked at it for 2 seconds. "Miss Raven, please leave." I choked. "You don't believe me?" He looked up at me, his gaze utterly devoid of warmth. "What do you want?" That sentence hurt more than a slap to the face. I, Raven Smith, the pampered youngest daughter of the Smith family, had been spoiled and arrogant since childhood. I'd certainly done plenty of outrageous things, like chasing after Grayson Jones for 10 years. Like getting drugged at a party and trying to make Grayson jealous, accidentally pushing myself onto Matthias Morrison instead. And then, after waking up, crying and cursing him for taking advantage of me. Matthias never explained. He just draped his coat over me and had his driver take me home. Half a month later, I found out I was pregnant. My first reaction was to run. After all, if my parents saw this report, they'd tear apart both the baby's father and me. But the floating text said if I ran, I would die. The child would be taken by Juliette White. Juliette White was the original novel's female lead, pure and resilient, gentle and kind. She would become the apple of Matthias Morrison's eye. And I was just cannon fodder paving the way for them. More text floated by. "Raven, cry now. Cry hard. Matthias responds to softness, not force. Don't back down. She's the only one who's ever gotten pregnant with Matthias Morrison's child. Juliette has already been earning favor with Lillian. Wait any longer, and you'll lose both the husband and the child." I pinched my palm, my eyes reddening. "Matthias Morrison, you sleep with me and then deny it?" Someone in the conference room sucked in a sharp breath. Matthias's eyes flickered slightly, as if suppressing something. I walked around the table to his side and pressed his hand against my lower abdomen. "You don't have to believe me, but you need to take care of me first." Matthias's fingers stiffened. I looked at him, my heart pounding painfully. His gaze lingered on my face for a long time. Meeting dismissed. Everyone immediately lowered their heads and filed out. The door closed. He withdrew his hand and pulled out his phone to dial an internal line. "Send the head of obstetrics and gynecology up here." I had just started to relax. The conference room door suddenly opened again. A woman in a white dress stood in the doorway, holding a food container. "Matthias, did I come at a bad time?" The floating text exploded instantly. Juliet White is here. Juliet White looked very wholesome. White dress, black hair, soft eyes. Standing next to someone as cold as Matthias Morrison, she really did seem like a ray of light. She saw the pregnancy test in my hand, and her eyelashes trembled. "Miss Raven, are you feeling unwell?" I hid the pregnancy test behind my back, my tone stubborn. "What's it to you?" Juliet's face paled. "I'm just concerned." Matthias asked her, "Who let you come up here?" Juliet bit her lip lightly. "Lillian asked me to bring you soup. The doctor said your stomach hasn't been well lately." Matthias's expression grew even colder. "Put it down and leave." "Matthias, Lillian also said she wants you to come back to the old mansion tonight." The text scrolled rapidly. "Here it comes. Lillian is going to set up Juliet and Matthias." Juliet saved Lillian's life. Lillian loves her now. If Raven acts up even a little, Matthias will find her annoying. I immediately moved closer to Matthias. "You can't go tonight." Matthias looked down at me. "You think you can control me?" I tilted my face up. "I'm carrying your child. Of course I can control you." Juliet's face grew even paler. Matthias looked at me, his expression calm, as if examining a contract full of loopholes. "Raven Smith, you'd better understand the consequences of lying to me." I was afraid of him, but I was more afraid of dying. I straightened my back, trying to appear righteous. "Then check now." 10 minutes later, the head of obstetrics and gynecology, Dr. Riley, arrived at the CEO's lounge with equipment and nurses. Blood draw, urine test, ultrasound. I lay on the bed, my skirt covering my lower abdomen, my palms covered in sweat. Matthias stood by the window, his back straight. Juliet didn't leave. She stood outside the door, looking in through the half-open entrance. The examination ended. Dr. Riley held the test results, her expression very complicated. "Mr. Morrison, Miss Raven is indeed pregnant." Matthias froze. Dr. Riley continued, "Based on the gestational age, the timing also matches up." I immediately sat up. "Did you hear that?" But Matthias kept staring at Dr. Riley. "Can the father be confirmed?" Dr. Riley looked uncomfortable under his gaze. "Invasive testing isn't recommended in early pregnancy, but non-invasive prenatal paternity testing can be arranged later." The smile on my face stiffened. "Matthias Morrison, you still doubt me?" He said nothing. Juliet suddenly walked in, her voice as gentle as water. "Miss Raven, don't be angry. Matthias's physical condition is special. It's normal for him to be cautious." I grabbed a pillow and threw it at her. "Who the hell do you think you are?" Juliet stumbled back half a step, her eyes instantly reddening. Matthias frowned. My heart ached. I immediately threw off the blanket and got out of bed. "Fine, I'm leaving." My foot had just touched the floor when my lower abdomen suddenly cramped. I bent over in pain. Matthias stepped forward in one stride, scooping me up, his voice urgent. "Doctor." I gripped his collar, tears rolling down uncontrollably. "Don't touch me." Matthias's body stiffened. The next second, the sound of a cane tapping on the floor came from outside. Lillian had arrived. As soon as she entered, her eyes went straight to my belly. "Who's pregnant with my Morrison family's child?" Lillian was in her 70s, with a full head of silver hair and a very straight spine. Matthias was holding me. I wanted to get down. He tightened his arms. "Don't move." Lillian walked quickly to the bedside. "How many weeks?" Dr. Riley immediately answered, "Around 6 weeks." Lillian's hands trembled. "Really pregnant?" Dr. Riley nodded. Lillian's eyes suddenly reddened. Juliet supported her, saying softly, "Lillian, don't get excited yet. The child's paternity still needs to be confirmed." The joy on Lillian's face froze. She looked at Matthias. Matthias placed me back on the bed and pulled a thin blanket over my legs. It's early pregnancy. Risky tests can't be done. My heart gave a small jolt. The man who had just doubted me was now protecting me. Lillian frowned. Matthias, this concerns the Morrison family bloodline. Matthias's voice was cold and low. Her body concerns a human life. The room fell silent. The text drifted slowly by. Matthias is protecting her now. Juliet is panicking. In the original novel, Lillian trained Juliet as her grandson's wife. Now Raven has barged in pregnant. Raven, don't get cocky. The Morrison family branch members are about to fight for inheritance rights. Lillian sat down beside my bed and held my hand. Raven, what do you want to eat? Where do you want to live? The old mansion has dedicated nutritionists and doctors. I was about to say whatever, but Juliet spoke first. The old mansion is quiet, suitable for pregnancy. I can keep Miss Raven company. I actually studied nursing. I sneered. You keep me company? Juliet nodded. I'm afraid you won't be comfortable alone. I looked at Matthias. I'm not going to the old mansion. Lillian's expression soured. She asked why. My eyes reddened, my voice immediately softening. I'm scared. Scared of what? I pointed at Juliet. Scared of her. Juliet's face stiffened. Lillian was also stunned. I lowered my head and touched my lower abdomen. As soon as she came in, she talked about confirming the child's paternity. Then she wanted me to go to the old mansion. What if I fall asleep and something happens to the baby? Juliet hurriedly explained, Miss Raven, you've misunderstood me. I shrank into Matthias's embrace. See? She's glaring at me again. Juliet. Matthias looked down at me, a hint of amusement seeming to flash in his eyes before he quickly suppressed it. Lillian looked at Juliet, her expression cooling somewhat. Juliet, you should go back first. Juliet's lips turned pale. Lillian, go back. Juliet left carrying the food container. As soon as the door closed, Lillian immediately changed her expression, gripping my hand. Raven, you can live wherever you want. I looked at Matthias. I want to live at his place. Matthias's brow furrowed slightly. Lillian immediately nodded. Fine, live at his place. Matthias said coldly, I didn't agree. Lillian tapped her cane heavily. You shut up. I almost laughed out loud. Text floated by. Step 1 of rising to power through her son. Success. Too bad the Smith family hasn't made their move yet. The next second, my phone rang. My mom's name appeared on the screen. I didn't dare answer. Matthias glanced at me. Afraid of your family? I spoke stubbornly. Who's afraid? The phone stopped for 2 seconds, then rang again. This time it was my dad. If I didn't answer, the Smith family would storm straight to Morrison Corporation. I took a deep breath and pressed answer. My mom's voice was shrill and terrifying. Raven Smith, where are you? I glanced at Matthias. Shopping. Shopping all the way up to the Morrison Corporation top floor? My scalp tingled. Did Grayson Jones snitch? Sure enough, my mom's next words confirmed it. Grayson said you went to find Matthias Morrison with a pregnancy test. I held a phone away from my ear. She continued yelling, You're pregnant. Lillian's ears were sharper than anyone's. She immediately leaned in. I closed my eyes. Yes. Silence on the other end of the line for 3 seconds. My mom started crying. Have you lost your mind? How old are you? What's going on between you and Matthias Morrison? Before I could speak, Matthias took the phone. Mrs. Smith, I will take responsibility. My mom on the other end went quiet. Then my dad's voice came through. Matthias Morrison, let Raven come home. Matthias looked at me. I immediately shook my head. He said into the phone, "She's not in a condition to travel right now." My dad laughed coldly. "You have no right to keep my daughter." Matthias's expression was indifferent. "If she wants to leave, I won't stop her." I immediately grabbed his sleeve. "I'm not leaving." The sound of a glass shattering came from the other end. My mom's voice shook with anger. "Raven Smith, you just wait." The call ended. I buried my face in the blanket. I was done for. Lillian patted my hand. "Don't be afraid. The Morrison family will protect you." I looked at her wearily. "You wanted me to go to the old mansion and verify the child just a moment ago." Lillian was rendered speechless. Matthias cleared his throat lightly. "Come back to my place first." I knew he lived in a luxury home. But when the car drove into the exclusive villa district, I couldn't help but gasp. My mood improved instantly. "Matthias Morrison, your place is actually pretty suitable for pregnancy." He loosened his tie. "The master bedroom is yours." I sat on the sofa, holding a cushion. "Where will you sleep?" "Guest room." I frowned. "If you're too far away, what do I do if I get hungry in the middle of the night?" Matthias looked at me. "Where do you want me to sleep?" I pointed at the master bedroom's king-size bed. "The bed is very big." His eyes darkened. "Raven Smith, don't provoke me." I immediately shut my mouth. That night, I woke up hungry and padded barefoot to the kitchen looking for food. The refrigerator was full of premium ingredients. I didn't know how to cook any of them. I dug out a box of strawberries and had just bitten into one when Matthias's voice came from behind me. "Why aren't you wearing shoes?" I was so startled the strawberry fell to the floor. He walked over, lifted me onto the kitchen island, and knelt down to wipe my feet. His movements were very gentle. I looked at his lowered brows and eyes, my heartbeat going out of control for a moment. Text suddenly appeared. "Friendly reminder, Grayson Jones is downstairs." He brought the Smith family with him. The doorbell rang,